Hello everybody, welcome back. Today is April 24th of 2023. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon and I have just come back from a trip down to a little town called Cloquet, just south and west of Duluth a little bit. And guess what we've got in the back of the truck here? There you go. We've got some bees, packages of bees. Picked up 5 packages. I have 3 Italians and a couple of Carniolans. Looking forward to getting those all set up out in the bee yard here at Windy Ridge. I also picked up my final package, which has been kind of floating around for a while, of Global Patties, Global Pollen Patties here. And this again is the 15% pollen, and also with the Apis Biologics control formula mixed in with it. So as Ian Stepler says, rocket fuel. Looking forward to that. Just went out and checked pollen patties out there and in the, at least in the Windy Ridge apiary, and they have pretty much chewed down in the last few days half of that package. So I should say half of that patty that I had out there. All right, so we've got bees, we've got pollen, and also something else that was through the club. The club that I belong to is Northeast Minnesota Beekeepers Association, NEMBA, as it's abbreviated. So if I say NEMBA, you know what I'm talking about. We had a guest speaker on, maybe a month ago or so, and she offered a special deal to the club for something called a Hive Hugger. Okay, as you can tell by this profile and that profile, it is insulation for the hives. So we're going to be doing a different video on that later on about the Hive Hugger. That was also picked up as part of the packages here. So we got some work to do ahead of us here. So let's get going. Well, welcome back out to the Windy Ridge bee yard. And if you take a look down the line here, you notice that things have changed quite a bit since our last visit here. We have added in a few more hives here, a few more boxes. Not officially hives yet, I suppose, with the bees not in them. And as I was taking apart the hives that were here, there were 4 at one time, and discovered that one that I thought was a dead-out was not a dead-out. So that's that tall one in the middle there, still wrapped up with tape for air infiltration and the goodness. And we've got down at the very end there, position number 7, still wrapped up in not only the 2-inch foamular foam, but also I left on the pallet wrap, the black pallet wrap, just to help give them a fighting chance here. And let me tell you, there was in those dead-outs plenty of capped honey left, even some cells that were opened up, and it looks like they were starting to eat those. But I think the problem this time around with my dead-outs was moisture. One of them was really wet. All of the wood chips were soaked. The second one, they were just mildly soaked, but down at the bottom was that. And I discovered that even though I've gone in there and cleaned out entrances, the one of the entrances was not opened up and free. So I'm gonna have to figure out something different for that next year. Maybe use these vents I have in the front and get in there and open up the vent early part of March or so, and ensure that they at least have an entrance that they can get out and about with. So here we have the first Carniolan. I left the rest in the truck up a little ways away from the bee yard, but here's the first Carniolan package. If you've never seen a package before, we've got some worker bees out here. We've also got a couple of drone bees out here. Hello. I can't say girl. Hello, boy. A couple of drone bees just hanging on for dear life. They're hoping that they'll get a little heat off of the bees that are inside the cage here. So this is a package. It's top here we have a syrup can, and hopefully there's some holes punched in the bottom of that syrup can for the bees to pull out the syrup with. Looks like it is. I can see some drip marks down there. And this little tab here, well, I know what you're thinking. Well, what happened to all the bees? And just as important, what happened to all the snow over here? Technical glitch discovered when I went to edit the video that something happened. And so we're going to try and re-record this. It's now a week later, 1 week later, almost the exact same time. It's pretty windy today. In fact, you can see the girls are out flying a little bit, but they're not going too far. They're just hanging around, maybe doing some orientation flights, cleansing flights out the front door here. So let's continue on where we left off last week. The rest of the takes were intact, and we'll get those in you as soon as I get done with this section here. What I was about to show you was this little aluminum tab up here, which is connected to the queen cage underneath. In fact, you may be able to see that in there. It's probably a little easier now without a bunch of bees in the way. So we have the syrup can in here. Syrup can with a few little holes at the bottom feeding the bees. And you'll notice in the previous video that they were all clustered under here, trying to get some syrup out, and clustered around the queen in her cage up there. So we'll be showing you a little bit how I pop the can out and take the queen and put the queen in a pocket to keep her warm, and then continue with installation of the bees. So let's put this off to the side for now, and we'll go take a look at what else we're doing with this. So typically what I'll do when I install the bees house, I want to give them some food right away. So we're going to be giving them some fondant right away. This time I'll be giving the whole patty. And since this is take 2, I don't need this. I'll just pull this back. Imagine that. And there it is there. Notice I'm not cutting the whole bottom off like I did for the other hives that I was putting this on the screen with. This is going to go right down on top of the frames. So we'll just cut the hole in the middle. Again, usually cut out the label side so that when you can open up the hive next, you can see right through the top. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to see through what they're doing if the label is still in the way. When I remember to do that, sometimes I forget. And also going to be giving them some pollen patties. These are the Global Pollen Patties. They're really chewing these things down. They love them. And I'll be putting those towards the back. So put down the fondant towards the front, pollen patties in the back. As you'll see, I forgot all about the brood minder. So the brood minder is going to go here, and the queen is going to go pretty much in the center between a couple of frames. That's because the entrance in the front, typically if you open up a hive, you'll see that they don't have a brood right in the front. They're back a little ways from there and towards the back. That's probably because there's a lot of air currents coming in that front, cool air, and also light, because they don't want light in there. They like a little bit dark, so they're moving it back a ways to get that darkness in there. And of course, this will be more situated, the pollen patties, hopefully over where I think they're going to be putting their brood. So we'll get this out of the way. I'm also going to be putting in, once I put the quilt box back on, putting in some little jars of syrup here. Right now it's about 1.5, 1.6 or so to 1 syrup, and chopped. Since I didn't chop, I punched some holes in the top with that. And I'll be putting this on top of the screen just so they have some sort of liquid in there for those days, especially up here when they can't get out and fly around. We've had days and days and days of sour weather and in a row, which means that they can't get out and even go get some water for themselves. So I like to give them a little bit of liquid stuff too. Why so small though? Well, if I got any bigger of a jar, I would not fit in my quilt box, and I still want to keep that quilt box on. We're still getting down in the high 20s. A couple of weeks ago, we're down to the low 20s, and I still want to make sure that there's a lot of warmth insulation on top, so they're just not losing all their heat out there. All right, I think that's it for showing you what I wanted to show you. I do have to apologize for not only this video, but the rest of it, the previous one and the rest of it. We got a ground squirrel coming across here. That day was very busy that I went and got the bees on. Earlier, about 7:30 in the morning, we took delivery on a bunch of flooring, wood flooring, red oak flooring, beautiful stuff, 3/4 inch red oak, and unfortunately the truck could not deliver right up to our driveway because, well, we had road restrictions on, and that size of truck was not allowed. So we dropped it about 3/4 of a mile down near the expressway, and my wife and I had to unload the pallet, bring it all up, stack it up here, and by the time we got done with that, I had a quick run down to Cloquet to pick up the bees. Came back, quick install them, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare for that, so I was a bit disorganized, aren't we all at times? So, okay, that's it. Let's get going with the rest of the video. Okay, we've got hive tools now. Also brought along a brush. Figured that might be good, but guess what? They've all climbed back up. I'll give it another sharp wrap or two here. Yeah, they're not too happy with me doing that, but they'll get over it. All right, this is going to work out a little better here. Actually, got to punch a hole in the can. Yes, so I got some syrup leaking out. I'll put that over here. Maybe the girls will find it. There goes one, found it already. All right, we're going to get the queen out. You can say they've already started putting some comb here on the queen cage. And there's our queen in there now. Carniolan, nice dark color. Not too much of a fat abdomen yet, but that'll come in a little bit. So we'll brush these bees back into here. And we're going to put her in the pocket, inside pocket. That's why I wore this jacket, just to keep her warm and not in harm's way. All right, the top is open. Some are flying out. Some are already discovering their new home, and I just did what I told you I don't want to do, and I spilt a bunch of syrup down in here. So, well, we'll spread that out so it's really thin and over to the sides. Why does it, things never go right when you... Yeah, everybody knows that. Murphy's Law. All right, here we go. We're gonna bring them down and tip them over, and we'll start. Welcome to your new home, girls. Yeah, they're not really all that happy with me at this moment. Maybe I should have put on a veil. I thought it'd be too cold, but... All right, we're all suited up. things have settled down a little bit here. I can see a lot of the girls have already found the frames. There's a lot of fanning going on up here. See some of them fanning. Here's another one fanning. It's like, hey, we found a new home. So that's good news. Now let's get the rest of them in here. Yeah, they're all. Remember last year I kept doing this and I kept hitting the very end of the wire here on the cage and kept getting punctured skin, so I'm trying to avoid that this year. Okay, now they're all balled up down this end. We'll roll them back over slowly. Of course, my goal is to get them all in. Rather bang this. If I start banging the hive now, they start to get all upset. So, all right. So we got most of them in there. What I'm gonna do right now is start putting some of these frames back in. So that one's got a bit more open space on it. We'll turn that one around. Boy, they're really going after that honey, aren't they? All the hard work from the girls last year, reaping the rewards of this year's crop. Let's get these frames over a bit and put in a good brood frame here. All right, now see how these guys are doing, gals. Still balled up here. Okay. All right. I'll let them. That's about 99.9% of them. Okay. Boy, they are humming like mad in there. Now, let's get out that queen. I'm going to put her down. I heard many different ways of doing it, but I'll just bend this down. I want to keep her so she's slightly up. That way they'll be able to feed her, and putting her right alongside this nice brood frame. And some of the girls have already found her and hopefully start giving her a little nourishment. So. All right, there was a cork plug in there, not a candy plug, and I'll come back. Maybe, I don't know, they've been with her now for probably a couple days, so maybe I'll come back tomorrow or the next day, depending on weather. It sounds like we have more snow and slush coming our way. In case you didn't notice, we've got more snow here. We had another 5 to 6 inches dumped on us just a few days ago. But we have broken the record for most snowfall in one season. Now we're up to 139.9, somewhere in there. Yahoo! All right, let's give them a little nourishment here. We'll put this. One side has holes on it, the other side doesn't. So I always put the whole side down. I want to give them as much. Oh, that girl's stuck on some syrup there. There's as much exposure as possible. So I put it that way. Across there. We're going to shoo these girls out of the way here. And hope they go for it. Maybe I will go this way on this one, since we got the queen right there. Yep, I changed my mind. We're gonna go this way because we got this fondant. See if we can chase them down out of the way. Put it down slowly here. Oh, so I'm not trying to use any sort of smoke today. Really don't want them, mess them up. There we go. All right, so now we've got fondant in there. I'll pull that just a little closer back to here. Maybe a little more gap here. So we're gonna put our sugar water feeders right in here. Okay, now we're ready to cover it up with the quilt box next. Oh, and as a reminder, there was my brood minder sensor, so yeah, make a little room for that. Definitely see a notice in temperature difference there for that thing. And now get some of these girls to move out of the way. Okay. I'm not too worried about these girls that are stuck on the outside. They'll find their way in, I think. All right. Now I'll dig down here and let's give them a little bit of syrup. Boy, they are humming up a storm there. Get a little bit coming out. There we go. Once they find that, we'll be good. Hello. Why don't you go down here, girl? There you go. All right, I'm going to forego putting on any of the insulation at this time. Wood chips should be fine. Excuse me, girl. You should get out of there, because the next step is to put the cover back on. Excuse me. And once that cover's on, make sure it's spaced to get some airflow through there. I'll put that on later. All right, let's go back here. Thank you for watching this episode from Windy Ridge Apiaries. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on any newly posted videos. And at your discretion, please leave a comment below. And until next time, do a good day.